Welcome to Pay-to-Play report for Deliver Us the Moon. I played this game through Xbox Game Pass. I played it on Xbox One X, and therefore, once it was off the Game Pass, I could not really come back and try to play it for this overview of the game for this report, and therefore I'm using the recorded footage to show you the game and talk about it. The game is available on PC, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and of course if you have Xbox Series and PlayStation 5, you'll be able to play it as well, because, well, the backwards compatibility exists, right? The game is an adventure game in itself, and you generally play pretty much a very linear adventure in this game. But let's jump into settings, and I'll show you the settings very quickly right now. Well, here is what the settings are available on Xbox One X. It's the ability to switch between 1080p and 60 frames per second and 4K and 30 frames per second. I naturally played it on 1080p 60 frames per second because I prefer 60 frames per second, and also because I have a 1080p display, so 4K would have been useless to me. Right? But again, you have those choices if you want to. On PC, I'm pretty sure there's more choices available. I believe that on PlayStation 4 there will be similar choices as per Xbox as well. So your choice. Like I said, that the game is an adventure game where you are playing a very linear adventure where you need to figure out certain puzzles, and there's no such thing as that you have to figure out different ways to solve a puzzle. There's no such thing. It's always, there's only one solution, there's only one right solution, and you just have to kind of figure out what it is and pretty much go through it. So when it comes to replayability of the game, well, there is not that much. But visually, the game is good. Everything's pretty clear. You can actually read up on, like I said, when it shows you the different papers, you will be able to zoom in, read them, even if it's not something that the game really deems as essential, because a lot of certain essential pieces you can actually pick up and read and turn them around to so on to read on what's written on the back. Other stuff, it's just there on the walls and stuff, but you can still read that, and the game also gives you a bit of a hints to solutions, what you need to do, and again, that's clear enough for you to understand that here it is, I think, something that the game is suggesting. In the end, I did use the internet to kind of find solutions for some of the problems, because I did not stumble upon them immediately, and part because I was kind of being pressed by the fact that the game was leaving Xbox Game Pass, so I wanted to finish it before that. So from that perspective, I would say it's good in terms of adventure, and it was pretty interesting that way. So let's jump further a bit in the game and talk about the actual story that is present in the game. The game focuses on the lunar colony. So what happened is that this is a future Earth. There was a fossil fuels run out. There's a climate catastrophe that occurred, and what happened was that the humans built a colony on the moon, and they're mining helium-3 there, converting it to energy and transmitting it back to Earth to supply the energy needs of Earth. And then one day the transmission stops, and this is called the blackout event, and nobody knows exactly what happened because nobody could send anybody to go investigate what happened. Reason for it is because people were so reliant on this energy coming from the moon itself. So therefore, it takes a few years before they're actually able to send somebody, which in this case, you, to go and figure out, so what actually happened and why did the transmission stop? And of course, most importantly, your mission there is to resume the transmission of energy back to Earth, because Earth is really relying on this as something that they need to pretty much to continue, for human beings to continue to survive on Earth, basically that. So besides that, you're also going to be doing some puzzle solving that I already mentioned. There's certain constraints when it comes to different environments that you will be in. So space is one of the environments, but there will be variations on that, of course. And there's also going to be time constraints that will be thrown at you and that you need to look into and try to survive against a certain time or complete task against a certain time that is provided to you. Now, the game is in third person and in the first person. So let me jump into the first person section here. And this is in first person, so you can see that I'm here right now on the side of the spaceship, and what will be continue on from here, what I will be doing is trying to dock the spaceship to the space station, basically. And so like I said, the game does give you hints of what to do, how to do things. It's pretty good that way. There are still certain different themes in the game itself. So we're talking about such themes as what is the greater good. That's, I think, one of the biggest themes that the game does talk about, and the idea it challenges between the two interpretations of greater good. The greater good of saving the whole species, the human species as a whole, all of them, and so, or you try to select few people because you know that you cannot save the whole species, but this way at least the species will survive because there's going to be enough people to start all over again. So these are the two things that are present in the game, and then of course the question is asked: how do you choose who you save if you decide to on one cause and who you decide not to save? And the moral implications of that go back and forward. Now, the game does not really make it as ambiguous. In the end, it does go towards the idea that you need to save the whole human species, everybody there. And that's the idea that it's going towards for. It argues towards for against the idea of saving select few. So it's not really ambiguous. It doesn't give you a choice between one or the other scenario to see what happens. It clearly says this is a better one, even though there's a problem. The other themes, of course, are the energy use, the overuse of resources. The game talks about that a lot. All right, I'm going to jump a bit forward here to another section of the game. Here we are inside the space station already. So I'm just going to bypass the whole docking section. And so, again, it talks about the idea of the energy resources, about the idea that human beings need to change and adapt themselves, because you cannot really even you can't keep using up the resources and such along. This is one of the themes that is present there, of course, because like I already said that from the very beginning, like I said, that there is a climate catastrophe happening. It's kind of happened, but it keeps on happening because you're going to get more messages throughout the game of what situation on Earth is like, that it continues to be bad. And so this, of course, has been caused by overuse of resources. So another one of those themes. There's minor sub-themes, so you can say maybe rather of the greater good, like I said before, who decide to live, who decide to die, and so on. So all that is present in the game. But overall, I played the game once, and I don't really see any kind of a replay value in the game. Actually, right now, what you're seeing is one of those time constraint puzzles situations here, because I have a constraint there, the timer for the oxygen running out, so I need to pick up oxygen as I go along and try to, at the same time, complete the task. So, like I said, there's no replay value. Once you play the game once through, you pretty much know all the puzzles, you'll be able to repeat them. The only thing that there might be a replay value is to go and look for collectibles. But when it comes to collectibles, there's not that much there, and they do add a bit to the story, but they're not really going to give you any more of the story in terms of understanding of something, deeper understanding. I think the only collectible that I found to be really valuable was the one that was more or less related to the transmissions that were like there's a scrambled transmissions, and I think those kind of give really a bit more to the story in a way. Again, I don't think they're going to change the message that much or do anything there, but they are there. And I did not collect one of them completely. I wasn't able to unlock everything there, but then I just went online and just found what was the actual message there. Listened to it, it's like, okay. But I don't think it really changed the whole story arc in the game if I didn't listen to it. So there you go. So from that perspective, again, there's no replayability. So you keep that in mind. This is a one-time shot of a game. So overall, what do I think of the game? Well, it's a very good game, since you kind of have a bit of a different, themes, a type of discussion of greater good. The gameplay is pretty straightforward. It is an adventure game, so you get what you kind of expect to get from it. So, from that perspective, and there's no replay value, so there's no variable solutions and such, of course, but they're still very good. Because you end up doing a lot of spacewalks, you end up driving on the moon, you end up doing a lot of things in space, flying the spaceship, docking it, and so on. I think because of that, I would say it's a Sub-Zero cool game also. So I think that's all I have to say about the game. Thank you for watching, for listening. And please like if you like the video. If you didn't like it, don't like it. And please follow and subscribe.